Hey folks, welcome to Nithrania Game Club. My name is Branislav Berec and you're watching Game in a Nutshell, a series of videos designed how to teach various board games. Today we're going to learn how to play Robin Hood and the Merry Men, and in this game you can do a ton of different actions, and each action has its own procedure and each procedure has its own variations and small set of different rules. So this tutorial video will be slightly longer than usual. So without any further ado, let's get started. To set up the game, first place all three villains in the black tower in the castle. Then place a guard in the third and fourth hideout of each gathering site on the game board. Place all carriages in this black bag and then randomly draw and place one carriage at the start of each road behind this illustrated barricade. Then place a stack of silver pennies on the designated space next to each road. In a two-player game, place 6 pennies on each road, 8 in a 3-player game, 10 in a 4-player game, and 12 silver coins on each road in a 5-player game. There are 4 types of weapons in the game, and for each weapon type, take as many dice as there are players. Then place all these weapon dice in the weapon storage and return all the extra dice back into the box. Place the random ransom tile face up in the black tower. Place 1 wood, 1 iron, 1 tool, 2 destruction tokens and 1 silver coin into the sheriff's stash. Shuffle the deck of villains cards and place them next to the board. In a 5-player game, take these 5 sheriff cards with this white border and add them to this deck to make the game a little easier. Then shuffle these Merry Men cards and deal 4 to each player. Shuffle these task cards and deal 3 cards to each player. Each player takes 1 wood, 1 iron, 1 tool, 2 destruction tokens and 1 silver coin, places them in this storage area, and these items are called possessions. Each player chooses a hero, takes the hero card, takes the corresponding hero meeple and places that meeple into the hero's lair. Then each player places 3 hero of the corresponding color into the training grounds, 3 heroes into the hideouts, and covers the 4th hideout with this green token. Then he takes all 5 barricades and traps, and then each player places 1 token to the start of the scoring track and to the start of this reputation track. Finally, randomly determine the starting player, who will get this metal coin. The game is played over 5 rounds and only 4 rounds in a 5-player game. Each round has 2 phases. The first phase is called Merry Men phase, and players will deploy their Merry Men to gather various resources, weapon dice, distraction tokens, and so on and so forth. Then the second phase is called the Hero phase. In each player's turn, first these villains will move across the board, they will deploy more guards, they will try to arrest these Merry Men, and simply they will play against the players. Then players will use their heroes to move across the board, take various powerful actions, free up their Merry Men, rescue them from prison, and take other actions to win the game. This is a semi-cooperative game. That means only one player can win the game. However, all players can lose the game in case these silver coins on any of the road will get depleted, or this guard's track will be completely filled up with the guards. In case the players win the game, the player with the most points will be the winner. In each round, starting with the first player and then going in a clockwise direction, each player takes 1 turn. On your turn, you have to take one of your Merry Men from these hideouts and place him into one of the 8 locations on the board. Players continue doing this until all of their merrymen from their hideouts are placed on the game board. There are 8 locations on the game board. There are 6 gathering sites where players can get weapon dice, iron, wood, some bottles which are decently called distraction tokens in this game, tools, and loot tokens which provide random resources. Each gathering site has a main area and 4 hideouts. Then there is a construction yard where players can build traps and barricades. Traps are used to capture guards in the hideouts, and barricades slow down these carriages so that heroes can rob them and return the silver coins back to the poor people. And finally, there is this King Richard's Crusade location, where for each merryman sent to King Richard, player can score one of the King Richard's tasks at the end of the game. When you place a merryman into a location, you have to play one of your merryman cards. When you place a merryman in the main area of the gathering site, you have to play one of your merryman cards passively. That means you take any card from your hand and you place it to the left side of your player board, which is also reminded by this symbol over here. If you place your merryman into the circle area, which means into the main area, the cards you play go to the left side of your player board. So you take any card from your hand, place it to the left side, and then you take the corresponding resources or weapons or distraction tokens depicted on the board. So in this case, you take one weapon die of your choice. When you take this die or resources or distraction tokens, you place them into your storage area. You can have maximum 6 cards in this passive area, and if you would have to add another one, first you need to discard 1 card from this pile. One last note, the main area of the gathering sites can contain any number of merrymen. When you place a merryman in the hideout of a gathering site, you have to play the merryman card actively. That means you take the card either from your hand or from this passive pile and you move it to the right side of your player board, which is again reminded by this symbol. However, you cannot play any card you want. The card you play has to have the symbol over here associated with the gathering site where you place your merryman. So in order to perform the action in this hideout of this particular gathering site, I have to play a merryman card which has this corresponding symbol in the bottom left corner. So I would take the card, place it to the right side, and then perform that action, which is usually more powerful than the action depicted on the game board. So this card lets me pick 2 weapon dice, which are again stored in the storage area. When you place a merryman in a hideout, you place the merryman into first available slot, which doesn't have any merryman or a guard. So next merryman would have to go into this spot. After that, no merryman can be placed into hideouts in this gathering site. If you place your merryman into a construction yard, you have to play the merryman card actively. That means you have to play one of the merryman cards which has this construction symbol, and you place it to the right side of your player board. Then you can perform depicted action. Again, there's no limit for the number of merrymen in this construction yard. Similarly, when you place a merryman into this King Richard's Crusade location, you have to play a merryman card with that particular action actively. So either from your hand or from the passive pile, and you move it to the right side of your player board. This location can contain any number of merrymen. However, one player can only send maximum 3 merrymen to this location. There are 6 gathering sites on the game board. At this one, players can get weapon dice from the weapon storage. However, each player can only have maximum 4 weapon dice. This gathering site provides iron, this one provides wood, this one provides destruction tokens, this one gives you tools, and at this location players can rob the rich. Here players can get these loot tokens, which provide various random resources. When you rob the rich, you have to start with this first attempt, then potentially with the second attempt, and then a third attempt. When you take the first attempt, these 3 arrows mean you have to throw 3 skills dice. Skill dice are these black dice, and this symbol means success. This shield symbol means a failure. Then this 1 arrow hitting the target means that you need at least 1 success. So when you roll the dice and you have the required successes, you have 2 options. You can take this loot bag, randomly draw 1 loot token, and then take the depicted resources. You take those resources, put them into your storage, and then return the token back into the bag. Or you can push your luck and continue with the second attempt, which means you only take 2 skills dice and you still need 1 success. If you are successful, again you have 2 options. You can take the loot, but this time it would be 2 loot tokens because you successfully robbed 2 people. Or you can push your luck even more and try the third attempt. But this time you can only roll 1 die, but you still need to roll the success. If you roll for the third time and you still have the success, you have successfully robbed 3 people, so you take 3 loot tokens from the loot bag, take all the resources from these loot tokens, and then you return them back into the bag. However, if you fail at any time, you get absolutely no loot tokens at all, and you immediately go to the first level of the prison. In addition, you have to take one of the possessions and put it into the sheriff's stash. If you wouldn't have any possessions, you go directly to the level 2 of the prison. When you place your merryman in the hideout of this location, so you are going to rob the rich from the hideout, you have to play one of the merryman cards actively, and then if you get a bonus, that bonus only applies to 1 die roll. So not to all your attempts, only to 1 die roll. When you place a merryman in a construction yard, you can build traps and barricades. When you decide to build a barricade, first choose a road, either north, east, west or south, and pay the depicted resources, which you take from your possessions, and you return the resources to the general supply, and you can take the silver coin and place it on any road you want. It doesn't have to be the one where you build the barricade. Then take the leftmost barricade from your player board and place it on the corresponding road on an empty spot which is farthest from the castle. By building barricades, you unlock rewards which you take at the beginning of every round. This one gives you a silver coin, this one destruction token, this one gives you 1 weapon die at the beginning of the round. And when you build this barricade, you can take away this green token and you unlock another hideout. From now on, you will have 4 hideouts and you can use 4 merrymen during your turn. When you build a trap, first choose the gathering site where you want to place that barricade, then pay the corresponding resources which you need to take from your possessions, and again take the leftmost trap from your player board and place it in the first hideout of the corresponding gathering site, which has no trap and no guard. As with the barricades, when you build traps, you unlock rewards which you take at the beginning of every round. Here you get a resource token of your choice, here we get a loot token, and here 1 more merryman card at the beginning of each round. When you build the last trap, it unlocks the same reward as the last barricade, and if there is no green token on your player board, nothing happens. When you send envoys to King Richard, you need to pay 2 weapon dice, 2 silver coins and 2 resources. By resources, I mean wood, iron or tools. Distraction tokens are not resources. Again, when you pay silver coins, you can place them on any road of your choice, and you can even split them and place each on a different road. All the merrymen you place here stay here for the rest of the game, and each player can place maximum 3 merrymen here. For each merryman you place into this location, you can score 1 King Richard's task card at the end of the game if you meet the conditions. At the end of the merryman phase, simply advance the route marker to the hero phase and keep all the merrymen on the board. With that, we'll go to the hero phase. At the beginning of the hero phase, all players will first draft weapons, starting with the first player and then going in the clockwise direction. Each player will choose 1 weapon die. Then, starting with the last player and going counterclockwise, each player will choose another weapon die. Remember, 1 player can have maximum 4 weapon dice, so if any player already has 4 weapon dice, he may not draft another one. When players finish drafting weapons, first player will draw the villain's card. He will carry out the actions depicted on the villain's card, and then he will have 2 moves with his hero. Then the next player in a player order will draw another villain's card, perform the actions depicted on this villain's card, and then take 2 moves with his hero. Repeat the same procedure for all other players in play. That means drawing a villain's card, performing the actions, and then taking 2 moves with the player's hero. After that, the round will be over. Now we will go through the villain's actions and then the hero's actions in more detail. When you draw the villain's card, you have to perform these actions in the depicted order. You can find several types of actions on these villain's cards. This symbol means that you need to add 1 guard to the indicated gathering site. Place the guard in the first hideout from the top that doesn't contain any other guard. If the indicated gathering site has no hideout without a guard, place the new guard to the first available slot on this guard track. Remember, if this track becomes full of guards, all players lose the game. If the first available hideout from the top contains the trap, the owner of that trap captures the guard. Take both the guard and the trap and place them into the hero's lair. If there is a merryman in that hideout, the merryman is arrested. The owner of that merryman has to take 1 possession and place it next to the arrested merryman as a fine. If the owner of that merryman would have no possessions and he would be unable to pay the fine, take that merryman from the hideout and place him directly to the first level of the prison. If he would place the new guard into a hideout which contains both the merryman and the trap activates first, so the guard is captured and is placed to the hero's lair. This star symbol in the middle indicates that you have to take this sheriff meeple and place him in the indicated gathering site. Place the meeple in the main area of the gathering site. Sheriff has no effect on merryman in the main area, but he comes with 2 more guards. So, following the same rules as for placing guards, you place these 2 guards at the same time to the first available hideouts from the top. In this case, both guards would be trapped and captured. If there's no available hideout, place both guards to the guards track. If there is only 1 hideout available, remember you place them at the same time. So the first one goes to this hideout and he would be eventually captured, and the second one goes to the guard's track. Even though the first one is now captured, the second one remains on the guard's track. This symbol means that you have to place Guy of Gisborne on the indicated road. When you do that, you have to remove the barricade closest to the castle and place that barricade into owner's lair. If there is a carriage behind this barricade and the carriage has a free road to the castle, move the carriage to the castle now. If you place Guy of Gisborne on the indicated road and there is no barricade on the road, nothing happens. This crown symbol means that you have to place Prince John on the indicated road. When you do that, remove as many silver coins from that road as there are barricades, including the pre-printed one. So in this case there are 3 barricades, so I have to remove 3 silver coins. Remember, when any road would have all the silver coins removed, all players lose the game. This carriage symbol means that you have to activate all carriages on the indicated road. That means that every carriage on the road passes 1 barricade, including the pre-printed barricade. After that, draw and place 1 new carriage to the starting position. When there is a carriage which has no other barricades in front of it, move it to the castle. When the carriage enters the castle, move it to the first available slot in this carriage lot, starting from the top and going to the bottom and going from left to right. So the first carriage goes to this slot and then you remove indicated number of coins from that particular road. The next carriage would be placed to this spot, removing 2 coins from the road it came from. And next one will be placed to this spot. Next carriage would occupy this spot and then again going to the bottom. In 1 and 2 player games, there are only these 6 slots available. When all of them are filled, the tax upsurge will happen, which we described in a minute. In a 3 player game, 9 slots are available, and a 4 and a 5 player games, all 12 slots are available. If you have to place a villain into the same location as another hero, the owner of that hero has to pay this distraction token. If that player has no distraction tokens, he needs to flip the hero card and he cannot use this hero abilities in the next hero phase. If he has no distraction tokens and the card is already flipped, nothing happens. After drawing the villain card and performing the actions, you can perform 2 actions with your hero. When you decide to place your hero into the same location as another villain, you have to spend distraction token. If you don't, you cannot place your hero there. There are 14 locations on the game board where you can place your hero and take the action. All of them are marked with this Robin Hood head symbol. When you place your hero next to a road, you can rob carriages on that road. First, choose a carriage, let's say this brown carriage, and then you need to roll minimum 2 dice of the same color as your chosen carriage. To succeed, you need to roll at least 1 success. You can spend distraction tokens to re-roll dice. For each distraction token, you can re-roll 1 die. When you succeed, first gain 1 reputation. Then take all the dice you rolled and return them to the weapon storage. Then take the carriage you robbed and lay it flat on any available slot in the carriage lot. Take the corresponding reward and place it into your storage area. Then all the barricade owners get 2 victory points for each barricade on that road. So in this case, yellow player would receive 4 points. Then you can immediately ambush another carriage on the same road if you have at least 2 dice of the same color as that carriage. It's still part of the same action, so if you're lucky enough, with one action you can rob 2 carriages. If you fail, nothing happens. You keep the dice you rolled, and you have to take your hero, move it to another location to take the second action. If this was your second action, your hero simply stays where he is and your turn is over. When all the available slots in the carriage lot, based on the number of players, are filled, the text upsurge is triggered. For each carriage that was robbed, so for each carriage that is laying down flat, you have to execute the road activation. So, in our example, we have to execute 5 road activations. First, remove all these carriages from the carriage lot away. Then start the road activation with the road that has the most silver coins. If they are tied, start with the one that has the most barricades. If the barricades are tied, look at the road which has the least carriages. So in this case, we would start with this road. Remember, during the road activation, each carriage passes 1 barricade and 1 new carriage is added to the starting position. After activating the road with the most silver coins, continue with the road with the second most silver coins, then third and fourth. Because we have to do 5 road activations, start the new round again with the road with the most silver coins, and so on and so forth. When you decide to fight the guards, first choose a gathering site and then choose one particular guard. Then you can roll up to 4 dice, but these weapon dice must match the weapons shown at the gathering site. As with carriages, you need at least 1 success. You can also spend distraction tokens to reroll dice. So, when you succeed, remove the guard from the board, gain 1 reputation, and return all dice you rolled to the weapon storage. And if you have more dice that match the weapons shown at this gathering site, you can attack another guard. It's all part of the same action, so if you have the dice matching the weapons shown at the gathering site, and if you're lucky enough, you can eliminate all guards in one location during one action. When you defeat the last guard at the gathering site, collect the reward produced by that gathering site. If you decide to fight a guard who arrested a merryman, and you succeed, remove the guard and take your merryman home and place him to the training grounds, together with the possession that was paid as a fine. In addition, if your hero rescues a merryman of another player, gain 1 victory point. When you fail, nothing happens. You keep all the dice you rolled, and you have to take your hero and move him to another location to take the second action. When you place your hero to the prison location, you can try to break out the prisoners. To do that, you will need these skills dice. As indicated by this symbol, for each distraction token you spend, you can take 2 skills dice. Because there are only 6 skills dice available, you can spend maximum 3 distraction tokens. Let's say we decide to spend 2 distraction tokens, so we get 4 skills dice to roll. Now, for each success, you can trick 1 guard. So with 3 successes, you can trick 3 guards. Level 1 prison is guarded by 1 guard. Level 2 is guarded by 2 guards, and level 3 is guarded by 3 guards. So with 3 successes, I can decide to rescue this red merryman from the level 3, or I can trick these 3 guards and rescue these 2 merrymen. Because these are skill dice, they are black dice, you cannot spend another distraction token to re-roll those dice. When you rescue Merryman from the prison, you can take possessions from this sheriff's stash. When you rescue a Merryman from the first level of the prison, you take 1 possession. When you rescue Merryman from the second level, you take 2 possessions. And when you rescue Merryman from the third level, you take 3 possessions from the sheriff's stash. And when you rescue a Merryman of another player, you get also victory points. For level 1, you get 2 victory points, 3 victory points for level 2, and 4 victory points for level 3. You get 0 victory points for rescuing your own Merryman. Rescued Merrymen are returned to the training grounds. Similar to previous actions, if you fail, you simply have to take your hero and move him to another location. When you place your hero to this location, you can compete in these archery competitions. You can compete in up to 3 competitions, and for each one you can gain silver coins. Reading the familiar symbology, for the first competition you take 3 skills dice and you need 1 success. When you succeed, take 1 coin and proceed to the second competition. In the second competition, again you take 3 skills dice, but now you need 2 successes. When you succeed again, you take another coin and proceed to the third competition. In the third one, you roll 3 skills dice, but you need 3 successes to get 2 coins. If you succeed, take those 2 coins and then move to another location. If you fail, and if you fail at any time, take the coins you have collected so far and then move your hero to another location. There is no penalty for failing in archery competitions. When you place your hero to this location, you can buy or trade weapon dice. For 1 wood or 1 iron, you can buy these weapons. And remember, at any time during the game, even when you buy weapons, you may never have more than 4 weapon dice. This symbol means that you can trade as many weapon dice as you want for free. So I can, for example, take this brown weapon die and change it for this orange one. And finally, when you place your hero to the village, you can give money back to the poor people and remove the guards from this guard track. Remember, when this track is completely filled, all players lose the game. So for each 2 silver coins you spend, you can remove 1 guard from this guard track. Because you give the money back to the poor people of the village, the silver coins that you spend from your own storage is returned to the general supply and not on the roads. For each guard removed this way, gain 2 victory points. At the end of each round, follow these steps. First, you can use this ransom tile. You can exchange your captured guards for the rewards shown on that ransom tile. You can choose the top, the bottom reward, or both of them, but you can only use each of them 1 time. So you can exchange your captured guards for victory points or for resources, or as this symbol indicates, you can take 1 of your Merrymen from the prison and return him back to your training grounds. Then advance all prisoners to the next level. So prisoners from level 1 go to the level 2, from level 2 to level 3, and prisoners from the level 3 are hanged. Lay them down like this and they are worth negative points at the end of the game. In the last round of the game, do not advance the prisoners. Then all the arrested Merrymen are placed to the level 1 of the prison, and the possessions are placed to the sheriff's stash. Then return all your heroes and Merrymen to the training grounds and to the hero's lair, except for the Merrymen in the prison and for the ENVOYS. Then transfer the Merrymen from the training grounds to the available hideouts. If you would only have 1 or even 0 Merrymen in these hideouts, you can take 1 Merryman from the prison, place him into one of your hideouts, but you would immediately lose 5 victory points. Then discard all your active Merryman cards and as many Merryman cards from your hand as you wish. Then refill up to 4 cards or 5 cards if you have the bonus unlocked. Return all the villains to the Black Tower, discard the ransom tile and replace it with the new one. Advance the round marker to the next round. Pass the first player marker to the next player in a clockwise direction, and the new round can begin. At the end of 5th round, or at the end of 4th round in a 5-player game, the game will be over. Based on your reputation level, score victory points for each barricades, traps and envoys. So the blue player would get 8 points for each barricade built, 7 points for each trap built, and 6 points for each envoy sent to King Richard. In addition, for these 2 envoys, blue player can score 2 of his 3 task cards. Then score 1 victory point for every 3 possessions remaining, then 1 victory point for each captured guard in the Hero's Lair, then add the victory points in this bottom right corner of the Merryman cards in the passive pile, plus the victory points for sets of matching Merryman cards in this passive pile. For 2 matching cards, players get 3 victory points. For a set of 3 matching cards, 6 victory points. For 4 matching cards, 10 victory points. And 15 victory points for 5 matching cards. Then score negative points for prisoners. Negative 1 point for level 1 prisoners, negative 2 points for level 2 prisoners, and minus 3 points for level 3 prisoners. For Hanged Merryman, score negative 4 points. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner. Remember, players can only win the game if this guards track is not filled and if all the roads still have some silver coins remaining. Otherwise, all players lose the game. So that's how you play Robin Hood and the Merry Man. If you have any questions or comments, please put them into the comment sections below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. If you like the show, please subscribe. My name is Branislav Berec. You've been watching Game in a Nutshell, and see you next time.